morning.
Good morning.
Nice smiles all around. Please rise when you're ready for our joy song, This Little Light of Mine. That was a great song. Very nice childhood favorite. Good morning again. It's nice to see family. I'm going to ask you to turn off your cell phones or put them on vibrate or mute, even better. I'm looking around. Any visitors today? Not today. All right. I'd like to introduce our guest musician today. Lisa will be here for our musician. And our at-one-minute reader today is Amy Jo. So, Amy Jo, if you're ready, come on up.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, today's readings. I and my Father are one. No, that's not the one I chose. Sorry. A grain of mustard seed. Whatsoever ye shall ask in prayer, believing, ye shall receive. Matthew 21, verse 22. How are you praying? Are you begging, "O God, I beseech thee in thy great and tender kindness to heal my body"? Yeah, I've done that. Or are you affirming, "Oh God, how marvelous it is to know that your pure and perfect life contains my soul. I am expressing your life. I am your life individualized." Do you see the difference? The latter prayer recognizes the spiritual nature of the divine, and that whatever he is, I am. I am included in him. I am in God, and God is in me. The idea, whether of health or harmony or security or well-being, is a spiritual seed, a living nucleus implanted in the garden of your soul. It will grow. It is a living blueprint, and by your attention to it, you will be able presently to behold it in the form you desire. As I think on these things, I visualize my heart's desire as a seed planted in the garden of mind, my mind and God's. I take care to water it, to give it my love. I tell it how glorious it is, how beautiful it is. I see it as a gift from God himself that will grow and bless me. Thank you, Father, for my small mustard seed that is expanding under your guidance into a tree of blessing. And that's from Max Ballard.
Thank you, Amy Jo. All right, our first hymn this morning is called There Is a Place. It's page 80, and we will sing both verses. So when you find it and you're ready, if you will stand and join me. Page 80, There Is a Place, both verses.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Sometimes doesn't have anything to do with the Bible verse. Sometimes humor, laughter is a very healing agent. And knowing that, I'll have just a little story. There were a group of women, older women, and they got together at one of them's living room, and they were sitting there in the afternoon having tea, and they were chatting like they like to do. And one of them said, "You know, you have such a wonderful marriage. How have you done it?" And one of them, the lady said, "Well, for our 25th anniversary, I booked us a trip to Thailand." Oh, and they went, "Oh, Thailand, how romantic, how romantic." And what else are you going to do? What are you going to do to keep your marriage so alive and so happy? "I know your 50th anniversary is coming up." And the lady said, "I'm going to go back and pick him up." Oh well. Our Bible verse is the Song of Solomon. "For behold, the winter is past, the rain is over and done. The flowers appear on the earth, the time of spring has come, and the voice of the turtle dove is heard in our Lord." The voice of the turtle dove, and I wondered, what in the world is a turtle dove? So I did a little research, and it's a bird found in Palestine. There are 3 species of it, and it is a very gentle and very peaceful bird. And they say it has a wonderful note when it sings. It has a wonderful note that even David himself tried to copy. And it says about the bird, the turtle dove, that if you go in March and look in the valleys and the marshes and so forth, you will not find the bird. But if you go in the 2nd week of April, it'll be like clouds on the cloves. And made me think about the turtle dove and springtime and how we talk and treat each other. And I was thinking, such a peaceful bird. and how we should be talking with each other in a more peaceful tone. You know, we'll need to take the rhetoric down, the volume down just a little bit when we speak with each other. I know we have different political views, one on the right and one on the far left perhaps. But I know there is a meeting place. We can both say, well, we both love America, and we can start from there. Let's try to be more like the turtle dove. Take the volume down just a bit. Thank you.
This is a song called Melody. Not very inspiring sound name, but it's by Christopher Gluck, and he wrote an opera called Orfeo. And in this mythological opera, Orpheus and Eurydice are married, and Eurydice dies, and Orfeo is so heartbroken that the gods allow him to retrieve Eurydice through music. He can travel to go back and bring her to earth again, but he has to do it with music, and on the condition that he cannot turn, once he finds her, he cannot turn around and look at her. And so he finds her, and he's bringing her back, and she doesn't understand why he won't turn and look at her. So she's upset, and she faints, and he turns, and she dies again. And Cupid, who's, this is an opera, so it's got to be dramatic. Cupid intervenes and is so taken with his love for her that he allows her to live again, and so it actually ends happily, and they eventually come back to Earth together. So this is an excerpt from that.
Beautiful, thank you. Thank you. I had forgotten earlier, and I think it's important that we do this. Would you say the statement of being with me now? It's in your orders of service. God is all, both invisible and visible. One presence, one mind, one power is all. This one that is all is perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance. I am the individualized expression of God, and I am the one is perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance. Now's the time for our healing meditation. I have in my hands someone's prayers, someone's thoughts, someone's cares. And I know we came today as a group with individualized prayers, concerns for others, even concerns for ourselves and our health, our finances, whatever. On my way here today, the sun was shining so brightly, it was basking the earth in its warmth, and I felt that warmth within, that God-centered place within me. There was nowhere else I'd rather be than here. God, thank you for answered prayers this week. Thank you for being with those that I love. I've poured my heart out to you this week several times, and prayers have been answered. Divine order is established. Oh, beloved, all is okay. All is all right. I invite you in this next 90 seconds to breathe deeply. Feel that sunshine in your life, that center part of you, where you can even feel the glow of God within you. I invite you in these next 90 seconds of silence to gratefully open your heart. Now. life, we feel the very presence of God. Thank you, God, for answered prayer this week and every day. Thank you for all your blessings. Too many to even mention. I'm just humbled and thank you, dear God. We say this with Christ's nature. Amen.
Amen.
Now that we're in a prayerful mood, if you'll recite the Lord's Prayer with me. Our Father,
Our Father,
which art
which
in
art in
heaven,
heaven,
hallowed is thy name.
thy
kingdom
is
come,
come,
thy will is done, on earth as it is in heaven. Thou give us this day our daily bread. Thou forgivest us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Thou leadest us not into temptation, but dost deliver us from all evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. I don't know why I choose the subjects I do sometimes. I just don't know why. But this is going to be a little bit about coincidences and some Melinda Kramer, because I was reading on her and what she felt about coincidences and the things of life and how life works. Coincidences. March the 14th, we lost Stephen Hawking, the great physicist. You know, he suffered from ALS. He died at the age of 76. He died March the 14th, which is Pi Day, 3.14. You know, where we've celebrated since 1988 the radius of a circle's circumference to its diameter. I got that right. This great mathematician, this great physicist would have to die on Pi Day. And it just so happens it's Albert Einstein's birthday. These two great minds lived and were born on the same day. Now, I know it doesn't have anything to do with Galileo sharing the same birthday as Stephen Hawking's January the 9th, Galileo of 1642. It's just all coincidental. That's what it is. It's just all coincidental. Do you remember Jimi Hendrix? I'm sure you do, the great guitar player.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he lived at 23 Brook Street, London. And his next door neighbor at 25 Brook Street, London, was the composer Handel. See, they were only separated by 200 years. But it's just a coincidence, isn't it? It's just a coincidence. In 1895, in the state of Ohio, this is where insurance men like, in the state of Ohio, there were only 2 cars in the whole state of Ohio. And they ran into each other. I guess that's why we have Allstate and State Farm. November 30th, 1835, Mark Twain was born. And Mark Twain said he was born as Halley's Comet made its appearance across the horizon. And Mark Twain said, it would be my greatest disappointment in life if I didn't go out with Halley's Comet. And then he went on further to say, the Almighty has said, and no doubt, these 2 unmovable forces came in together, and they should go out together. And of course, Halley's Comet comes around every 74 years. He came on his birth, and he died when Halley's Comet came back again. It's just coincidental. That's all that is. Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, both signed the Declaration of Independence. Both were presidents of the United States. Though they didn't get along later in life, but both died on the 50th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. They died within hours of each other. That's just so much coincidence, isn't it? It's just coincidental. There was a fellow by the name of Dr. Spencer Silver. He grew up in Texas. He became interested in chemistry when he was a young fellow. He went on to get his doctorate in chemistry. He worked for 3M Corporation, the big 3M Corporation, as one of their chemists. And one of his tasks was to invent a different kind of glue that would almost adhere to anything. And so he worked with all the polymers and so forth, trying to come up with it. And what he came up with was a glue that wasn't what he was trying to do. He came up with a glue that you could use and put on the back of a piece of paper. And then when you put it on the paper and took it off, it wouldn't make any residue. Now, just coincidentally, beside his lab, was a fellow, another chemist by the name of Arthur Fry. And Arthur Fry, in his lab, all he had was bunches of torn pieces of yellow paper. And Arthur Fry, he sang in the church choir, and he liked to mark his hymnal with the songs coming up next, and it just kept falling out. So he went and took some of this Dr. Silver's glue, put it on the back of one of these little yellow pieces of paper in his office, and he stuck it to the hymnal, and it worked. And he could take it off, and it didn't hurt the hymnal at all. He thought, well, this is kind of neat. Well, he tried to interest the company at 3M, and they said, no, there's no market whatsoever for that. So people started using it in the office, and the other scientists and so forth would come in, and chemists would use this product, and they would take it, put it on the back of a little piece of paper, and they would put it to their Rolodex or whatever they had. So that was about 1977, 78. And 3M got to thinking about it again. They revisited the issue. And so they thought, well, we'll market it out to hundreds of people. We'll just give it to them free, see what they do with it. Oh, me. They loved it. We call it today Post-it notes. Today, 3M sells over 1 billion annually in sales for Post-it notes. 27 colors, 57 sizes, and 20 fragrances. 1 billion in sales, and it was all a coincidence because someone's lab was next door to someone who had scraps of paper. But that's just coincidental. In the book of Hebrews in the Bible, it was written in, I think, 68 AD. They think Paul wrote it, but they're unsure about the author. But in that old writing, in the Greek word for ear and balance, have the same root word, written thousands of years ago. Ear and balance. And we did not know until the latter part of the 19th century that within our ear is our balance mechanism. How they did that 2,000 years ago, I guess it's just a coincidence, isn't it? It's just another one of those coincidences. I was reading Melinda Kramer. I really, really like her. She was born in 1844, died in 1906. She is so ahead of her time. She's even ahead of today's time. Her thinking is so far out there, so new thought, so deep. And so I was reading some of Linda Kramer's works, and she was talking about coincidences and the here of now and what is life. And she didn't really have these three things I'm going to talk about, but I took them from her writings. I took and just sort of made it fit for what I thought she was meaning. So I'm going to share that with you. She says, we go forth not to resist or conquer, but the opportunity to express. Oh, I thought about that. What is she talking about? Don't resist and conquer. What could she be talking about? And then I thought, well, you know, today, sometimes we get in our heads too much. We overthink things too much instead of getting in our hearts. We overthink things way too much. Don't resist. Don't conquer. Here's what I think. Think less, feel more. That could be the sermon. Think less, feel more. One of the other things she was speaking about, she was talking about, and this really struck me, I can get this. She said, there's nothing more grand than genuine simplicity. Genuine simplicity. Well, I like that. She talked about that. I like that. I remember some years back, maybe 15, 18 years back, there was a big meeting in Richmond. They had the resident vice president for, about 4 or 5 Atlantic states. He was a very important person. He was down. He brought his legal team with him, and the marketing people with him, the team, and the graphic people with him. It was a big meeting. See, they wanted to change the outlook in the presentation of a particular policy that was on the market. They had spent countless hours, legal team there, making sure everything was just right. The graphic team, making sure they could make the policy attractive to the customer, the client. I was there, I don't know why, but I was one of the invitees there. And after they made this huge presentation, legal team, everybody there, the resident vice president stood up, everything quieted down. He said, we're going to have a question and answer period. And so I listened, and some of the questions were thrown out there. The answers were coming back. And to this man's credit, this is what happened. He said, you know, we're making a problem when there isn't one. He said, in front of everyone, he said, keep it simple, stupid. I'm learning. Keep it simple. The product we have now is great. People love it. It's built perfectly. The consumer likes it. The graphics on it are perfect. The legal wording is right. What are we trying to change? And why are we trying to change it? All these man hours, all this work, and he came up with the idea, keep it simple, stupid. And he closed the meeting. That impressed me. I was glad to see someone stand up and say, you know, we don't need to do this. Keep it simple. It reminds me also of why I like divine science so much. God is omnipresent. I got that. I can understand that. I can feel that. It's easy. I got that. We were created in the image of God. Oh, I got that. I like that. I can understand that. No wonder I like divine science. There is no original sin. Oh, I got that. I like that. Divine science helps us to keep it simple. I'm not going to say stupid, but keep it simple. One of the other things I liked when I was reading Melinda Kramer, she was talking about the great truths and how they reveal themselves to you more clear and more clear. A truth revealing itself to you more clear and more clear. I thought on that, what's she talking about? What could she be talking about? It reminded me of a man or a woman who wanted to feel love so bad. You know, that friendship love, or the romantic love. They wanted to be adored, cherished, loved. We all want that. Plenty of friends. Feel good about yourself. And this person didn't have it. And so he went to a master teacher. He said, "Teacher, how do I feel loved? How do I get that? That friendship love, that romantic love. I want it all. I want to feel good. How do I do that?" And the teacher said, "Think on the truth and it will reveal itself to you more and more clearly. Go away for 3 days and think of nothing but love." So he did. He did. He thought of it at night and during the day. He took off work just to think about it. And after 3 days, he came back to the teacher. And the teacher said, "What did you learn? What did you learn?" And he said, "I have learned that love comes from within. I have learned to love myself first." The truth reveals itself to you more clear and more clear. I have learned that I must love myself first before anybody else can even love me. That's what I learned. That's what Melinda Kramer was trying to tell me. You know, we're talking about coincidences. If you look at Psalms 117, it's the shortest chapter in the Bible. It's only 26 to 27 words. Psalms 119 is the longest chapter in the Bible. I mean, you look at it and it goes on and on and on. Back page to front page to back page to the front page. So Psalms 118 is right in the middle. Coincidences. If you count from the beginning of the Bible, from Genesis, the chapters up to Psalms 119 or 118, you get 594 chapters. Now, if you count from Psalms 118 to the end of the Bible, and you took the time to do it, you would come up with 594 chapters. If you take 594 and 594 and you add them together, you get 1188. So let's turn to Psalms 118:8. And it says, "Trust in the Lord. Don't put confidence in man." Trust in God, not in man. What it's saying is God is the center. God is the center in our lives. And just by coincidence, it's the center part of the Bible in that verse. It's just so many coincidences. Will you go within with me now? Dear God, thank you for such writers as Melinda Kramer that can teach us so much about things that are important, about loving ourselves, about getting out of our heads and feeling more. Thank you for these great truths. Amen.
Amen.
Well, we have another classical selection today, a little more modernized arrangement of Bach's Air. Since Lisa's with us this weekend and can lend her talent with classical flair. This is a contemporary arrangement that I did some years ago with piano and a rhythm track that you'll hear if we can get it started. And this time with violin. Familiar piece to all of you, I know. Bear with us as we get this off the ground. Should go and press.
it's time for the blessing, I guess.
We have to transfix. We have to transfix.
Thank you for what I'm going to say. Her ushers are going to basket. Please say with me. Today I acknowledge God, omnipresent, as the source of all good, as the source of my good. With this acknowledgement, I accept His will, which is abundance in every aspect of my life. I release all thoughts of lack and limitation, and I am open and receptive to the increased flow of abundance to me right now. I joyfully accept the gifts of life and give freely of the special gift that I am. Through me, God omnipresent blesses and multiplies this gift for all. Thank you, dear God. While the baskets are coming around, will you turn to the people around you and thank them for the special gift that they are?
Thank you for the special gift. Thank you. Thank you. Hi, everybody. Thank you.
This is our prayer basket. If you'll please take a name or two and pray for them this week.
Can you please take this? I guess. Take it back.
Good morning.
Good morning, Jan.
Okay, let's see if I can get all these right today. Thanks for everybody for being here. And Lisa, thank you, and Vic, for such wonderful music. Let's give them another.
Oh, my.
Can you come back again next week? Okay, as you know, we're not having any snacks today because we have the next door rented out. So I encourage you to get together and maybe some of us go to lunch or invite somebody to go walking.
Jan, in about half an hour, I'm going over to Famous Toastery on Keegan Road.
Okay.
Okay? If anybody wants to join me, they're welcome.
Okay, all right. There's one invitation, so if anybody, whatever you want to do something after, because we can't have any snacks today, so we can do something else. Also, got lots of things coming up in April. Next Sunday we will have potluck. Also, as you know, the ballots are going out for the election of Melanie and Ann. Nobody decided they wanted to fight them for their positions. but you still have to give them a vote of confidence. So we have ballots up here for the people that are here all the time. Other than that, we're going to mail ballots to the other people. They have to be in by the 29th. So make sure that you get them in by the, either mail them in or bring them and put them in the box over here by the 29th. Let's see, on April the 20th, we're going to have a movie at the church. We don't know what it is yet. When we did the surveys, we were surprised that most people wanted to have movie night at the church, because in past they hadn't very many people showed up, but then everybody did the survey and they wanted to do movies. So what we're going to do, if you've got a movie you want to see, I would like to recommend, tell Kate, Pam, myself, Wendy's not here today, but any of us, and we'll get all the list together and we'll pick one to watch that night. I think it's going to start at 6:30. We'll probably have snacks before we'll get that all together, but we've got to figure out what movie we're going to show first. But so be thinking about that. Also, our board meeting is normally like tomorrow night, but we postponed it. We're going to have it on April the 17th, which is a Tuesday night, a Tuesday evening at 4:30. So it'll be not this week, but the following week. The regular board meetings were at the church. Let's see. The flowers this week are given by Marita in honor of Eddie's birthday. So thank you, Marita, for that. Did you have anything that you wanted to say?
Everybody, flowers, please.
Okay.
Yeah, I did want to say, because I didn't see many of you last week, you attended the early service, and I wanted to express my deepest thanks to you for the beautiful cards and the food and offers of help, and just loving words that have come my way over the last 10 days or so, and before that. Words can't express it, really. The depth of my gratitude to you all. Well, I will leave it there because I don't have words to really express it. But know that it comes from my heart, and please do take flowers. Thank you.
All right, thanks.
That's it, unless you put song.
Our closing hymn today is Simple Gifts, page 41. Page 41, Simple Gifts. When you're ready, if you'll rise, and we'll sing it all the way through.